Alright, this is going to be a 4x4 assembly tutorial. Tools you'll need for this is a regular Phillips head screwdriver, and then also you're going to want probably another screwdriver, flathead. Okay, first thing I would do is to sort the pieces. And just to make sure that you have all the pieces, there should be 8 corners. There should be the core, and then there should be 24 edge pieces, 24 center pieces, 24 of the little internal pieces, and then 12 of the big internal. Okay, so first you're gonna want to take the big internal piece and 2 of the smaller ones, and you put them together. You're going to want to put them together like that, and then you're going to try and hold them all in one group. Go over to the core and try and put it in between 2 of the centers. Now this might be a little tricky at first, but then you want to be really careful once you have it, because it could fall out. So this is what you're looking for. Okay, and then while keeping these there, we want to do the same thing on one of the adjacent centers. So the way I do it is I put my index and my ring finger on the outside, my thumb in the middle, and then my middle finger on this side to keep it as one little group. And then I take this, and I want to make sure that little square is flat on there. So then I put it down on the square, and then just slide it over to the adjacent center. And again, you want to be really careful because it could fall apart right here. But this is what you're looking for, 2 adjacent edge kind of pieces. Okay, next we can start by taking a center, putting it in the middle part of that, taking 2 edge pieces. You take 2 edge pieces and put them on either side. And then you take a corner piece, and it doesn't matter what colors point where, except for the corners. So you want to make sure, usually I would start with a white corner, and just make sure you know where the white sticker is pointing. So then you put the corner in there. Next you want to take 2 more centers, put them in, and again, it doesn't matter what color they are. 2 centers and put them in like that. And you want to take another edge and flip it so it's facing like this. And be careful not to push down, because it could push these edges out, and you just want to make sure you're not pushing too hard. Or you could put it on the table and try and do it. So then after you put that edge in, you take one of the big internals, put it in that little area, and you want to take 2 of the smaller internals, and you got to figure out which way they're supposed to be turned. So it's supposed to be turned like this, going into there. And again, you want to be really careful because the pieces could fall apart. So just use just a little bit of force. So then this last one, and what I do is I don't just go straight down. I put it more of an angle like this. And what you could do is put your other hand on the other side of the pieces so they don't fall apart. And just put it in. And make sure all these edge pieces are pushed in. So then you got this little 2x2 block. Next step is to make another one of these edge pieces with the internals. And then you choose basically any centerpiece, but I'm going to choose this one. And I'm going to try and put it in like that. And while I'm making sure that these side pieces aren't poking out. Okay, so when I have these internals here, I want to do the same thing with the pieces when I'm putting it in. Start with a center, put it in there. Take 2 edge pieces, put them in. Take a corner, and you want to make sure they match up with the other centers, so green and orange, with white and yellow on either side. Take 2 more centers and put them in like that. Take 1 edge, point it like this, and put it down with not a lot of force. And then this is where you take the internal pieces and put them in. Kind of an angle. Being very careful. You basically have to be really careful up until the end. Okay. So then once you have those in, you have a 1/4 the cube done. Okay, throughout the whole thing, it's basically the same method, kinda. Same technique. So once you have this part, you want to take another internal edge, and then you want to put it in. What you might have to do is just put 2 pieces down, and then try and squeeze in the last one. So then what you need to do is you need to slide these pieces over so that's in the middle, like this. So then next step is to build these 2 just like we have the other pieces. Okay, so now that you have this, and if you don't have this or you need help with anything, just leave a comment and I'll try and help you. So now you have half the cube solved, and you want to make sure all these little internal pieces aren't poking out, so you want to push them all down at the same time. So next, what you're going to do is you're going to want to take the big internal piece and the little one, just one of each, put them together, and then put it so the little one's on the bottom. Put it like that. Take your other one, and with this hand you're holding up this little square thing. You're going to want to put this last little piece in there. It's going to be a little tricky until it pokes through. So now you have that. You just build up these 2 parts just like you did the last 2. Okay, so when you were building this up, now you're at the point where you put in 2 of the last big internal pieces. And so now you're putting in the little ones. And this can be a little tricky. So what I would do is start with the ones on the outside. Like that one. And this is where your screwdriver might come in handy, is to put those pieces in. So then the other side. And then now you do these 2 in the front. And then push them all down as far as they'll go. And then now you're on the last little part. And then just start building it up, starting at the bottom here.
So your center, 2 edge pieces,
and then your corner. I didn't really stress this enough. What I'm basically doing is solving the corners, like just solving them. So like the correct white ones will be up here with the side colors matching, and then the yellow ones on the bottom are all facing down with the correct side colors. If you don't do that, when you eventually solve the cube, the centers would be, they could be flipped. So now you take the corner, the last corner, put it in, 2 more center pieces, put them in, 1 edge piece. So this, from here on, it's going to get real tricky, so I'm just going to go straight through it. So you take the big internal, squeeze it in there, take your little pieces, and this is where you need your screwdriver, because you'll put it in there, and then you'll take the flathead and push it down like that. So then you take the other one, and then try and push it down. So then you're on the last little part. So you take the corner first, you put it in there, because otherwise it won't fit. So you have to make sure it's twisted right, and you have to kind of hold it up at first. So then what you do is you start taking, and you should only have 3 centers and 3 edges left. So you take a center and put it in there, take another center and put it in over here, and then you take an edge while pulling the corner up a little bit, not too much because it'll get weird. So then you want to put this edge in there, put that in there. So then you're down to this. Take your center, put it in, edge, put it in, and then your last edge. This is the last piece of the cube. There you go. And that's how you put together a 4x4.